Hello, today I just want to show you how I made this slightly scalloped pencil skirt from scratch. I'm not a seamstress or anything, but this is just how I put it together. So first we're going to cut along the printed line of the fabric to the length of your liking, like this here. And then you're going to wrap that piece around your lower half of the body, and wherever it is taut or wherever it hugs, that's where you're going to pin it. So it's around the hip area. So we're going to fold it over nice and snug, and where you feel the fold, that's where you're going to start making a mark on where you should sew them together. So it's on the top part, and then on the under fold here. Let me show you a little bit. I'm just feeling for that pin there, and I'm going to put another pin right at that spot. Okay, and then I'm going to check to make sure that they're still aligned, so I'm going to measure it again. I'm going to feel for this pin here and make sure that's aligned with the pin on top. And then that's it. It works out, so good. So lay it flat on the floor again, and where you see that pin right here, this one's on the other side, we're going to fold them together, and then we're going to cut about a 1/4 inch away from that. See that extra piece? And I'm going to open it back up again with the right side up, and then you're going to have an extra material for the lining, and we're going to align it at the edge there. Make sure it's all the same size. And this fabric is from an old skirt I was trying to make, and it was a total fail, so it's a good thing that I could use it for something, which is this lining here. And we're going to pin on all 4 sides. We're going to sew it all around. So over here I'm just showing you that I'm pinning the top part here. And now, what am I going to do? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, okay, from where I pinned when I was fitting it on the lower part of the body, we're going to measure it. And we're going to divide that by however big or far apart you want your scallop to be. I wanted 1.5 inches here. So you can see this is 2, but I only wanted 1.5 because I just want a subtle scallop. And so I'm going to make a mark on this cover that I got from my old Mod Podge. And make your mark there, 1.5 inches. Okay. And then line to make sure that it's visible from the sides as well, in which I'm going to do it all the way to the end of the cap in a little bit before I trace my scallops. And there you go. And with this line, this will help me determine where to place the cap so that I can make an even chain of scallops. And so I would align that line that I made on the Mod Podge cover to the chosen line on the fabric right there at the edge. I want that white to peep out a little bit there. So now I'm doing my second scallop. Now I'm going to do it all along the edge of the skirt. So now this is all done, and as you can see, the pins, I had to repin it at the edge because I need to sew it along the trace there. And what we're going to do is cut the extra fabric about 1/4 inch away from this where it's sewn, and then cut in between the scallops like this, so that when you turn it inside out, it won't get all bunched up. So there you go. You just push the scallops out, and as soon as you finish pushing all the scallops out, you're going to iron them flat, and this is how it turned out, and I'm happy with that. Now put it back on the floor. Oh yeah, because I said I was going to sew the whole all along 4 sides of these 2 fabrics here. So just measure it again just to make sure, and then make a new marking also. Make sure those edges there at the top are aligned, And you want to make sure too that the prints, the line prints, are aligned. Okay, feel for the fold and pin it, measure it, put it back on the floor, and then repin it just like so. I'm going to cut that piece of fabric right there. That's just an extra, I don't know, we don't need that. So everything is nice and even. I've pinned the two ends together already. Now I'm going to iron the two ends flat. As you can see, I gave it a lot of allowance in case I gain weight. Okay. Now from the two pins that you saw earlier, I will be sewing between those two pins to sew these two ends together. But the bottom end, I'm going to leave open. This is going to be the slit. Okay. I will be folding this in a triangular formation so that you don't see the seams. I mean, not the seams, the edge of the fabric. So that will be either hand sewn or machine sewn. I decided to use a machine at the end. So anyway, I'm just pinning that down, keep it in place, and I'm going to be doing that to the other side as well. Okay. So this is the bottom end, this is the back side, this is where the slit is going to be. And remember how I told you, I wanted to measure the width of the skirt and the width of the scallops so that when these two ends meet, it will be a two full scallops meeting at the slit. Okay, now the waist end of this pattern here, I'm not going to pin it down because that's where we will put the zipper. Okay, so now in between those two pins, I'm pinning some more because that's where I will be sewing the two ends together. And you will see that in a little bit here. Hurry on up. Okay. Just taking my the marks off where when I had it wrapped around my lower half of the body. Okay. So that's the waist part. This is where the zipper is going to go. I'm just trying to measure it, and I found that I didn't have to sew the two ends together too far. I'll show you a little bit what I mean, because I'm going to be folding the skirt down, the waist part of the skirt down. Okay, this end is what I mean. I have pinned it beyond that, so I'm taking off one so that the zipper will match. The length of the zipper will match alongside of the from the waist to where it's sewn together. Okay. Alright, so I've sewn these two ends together, just that part, and just making sure everything is nice and even and clean, making sure that, again, that it is measured correctly, which it is measured correctly. So this zipper will be an invisible one, or at least that's what what I'm planning to do. Okay, now I'm just gonna pin the folds together so that I know where to sew the zipper on. The edges will stay put. Okay, now turn it right side out. And then what we're going to do is pin the zipper underneath. Make sure everything is nice and aligned. Okay, now open the zipper up and make sure that it's parallel. The teeth of the zipper is parallel to the edge of the fabric here. Okay, hurry up. And it's a bit tricky to sew these together. You're going to need a special foot on the sewing machine to sew the zippers. It should come with the manual, the instructions anyway. So you can take a look at your manual to see which foot needs to go on the underside so that you'll be able to sew the zipper on your clothes or bags or anything. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to measure it again. Just slip that on, make sure that the zipper is in the middle of your back. And what we're going to do is, you can see here that the waist is very, very loose. So what I did here is to make sure that around where your hip bone is, you're going to pull the skirt out right there and then pinch it so that it will fit you, and start pinning from there. Just like how you would on a dress form, but since I don't have a dress form, it's very difficult to do this on yourself. I'm using myself as a dress form, and just make your mark. Both sides don't really have to be that even, because when you take off the skirt, you can just make sure that the width are the same, and from where the point of where it's tapered are along the same lines as well. Like over here, it's on purple or whatever color it's showing here. I decided to not do it around the hip bone, I mean the front area. I decided to do it on the side. Okay, so my camera ran out of battery, so I had to use my cell phone, so it's going to be kind of wobbly. But anyway, I pinned down the sides here. I decided to alter it from the sides instead. And there goes the dart. And I wanted to make sure that it was nice and aligned. And this left side here is not, and so I had to repin it. The other side is fine. As you can see here, the lines on the fabric are aligned. So many word lines here in this video, huh? Okay, so it's done. So I went ahead and sewed along the pins, and then cut the extra fabric off so that it's not bulky. And then I sewed very close to the edge of the waist side. I folded the waist in already, and I sewed the edges of it to keep it folded down. And I'm going to sew a second one just about ½ an inch below the first one, below the edge there. And then as you can see, the triangle, where the triangle is near the zipper, I've sewed that down too, so that doesn't unravel. So that's done. And I did the same thing with the slit as well. I'm hoping, did I show it? There you go. So now everything is in one piece, nothing falling out or hanging out. And there's my skirt with the lining. And that's why it took a little longer. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. Some of my skirts I make with the lining, some without, depending on the fabric. But anyway, don't forget to come back for more. I will be making a midi skirt in a few weeks. Okay, thanks for watching, and don't forget to come back for more videos. Bye.